Welcome back, everyone. This is Total Disclosure. Today, we have a wonderful show. For decades, those shimmering metallic orbs have been dismissed as weather balloons, drones, or just UFOs. But what if there's something far more intelligent, far more ancient, and right here protecting us? From haunted houses to high altitude dogfights, from Poltergeist to Planetary defense, meet the man who's mapped it all out. An IT wizard turned UAP revolutionary, the OG sphere hunter, who's been called the architect of one of the most paradigm shifting theories in modern ufology. Author of the game-changing book, The Sphere Network, which is backed by pilots, academics, and footage that simply just defies explanation. Patrick Jackson is here to reveal Earth's hidden AI defense grid, the Sphere Network, and how these orbs, there aren't invaders, there are guardians in an unseen war. Let's welcome Patrick Jackson. You've gone from building language learning empires as an IT specialist to, reverse engineering what you call, Earth's most sophisticated defense system. What was the exact glitch in the matrix moment? That was it a specific sighting, a data set, an anomaly that made you realize that these weren't random orbs, but a networked intelligence? Can you walk us through, how your tech background gave you the edge that most researchers would have missed?
Okay, well, the main difference I think is most UFO researchers, they do the journalist route where they will, go and speak to someone or speak to a group of people, and they will try and get all the stories and they cross-reference those stories and then build like a cleaned up version for the public. That's generally what's been happening for like the last 20 years. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's, a lot of people do that. There's a lot of authors I like. They do a good job of it. But my approach is somewhat different because I come from a database background, IT specialist background. I predominantly do, reverse engineering and processes and so forth. And so what I did really was applied my same work skill set against originally what was Poltergeist, because that was what I was interested in beginning. Growing up, I saw some funny things, and then I got into all the American and British ghost hunting TV shows. I just found them to be awful.
They were so bad. The producer today is a huge fan of the Ghost Adventures and like Zach Baggins and all those. I just find it to be like not to interrupt you, but I just find it so staged.
Well, I mean, they've only got 1 or 2 nights to film, so they have to make a big deal out of everything. But the problem is that what they're seeing is quite real in some respects, but they interpret it completely wrong. They interpret it as dead people or spirits and stuff like that, and it makes no sense, and it doesn't mathematically connect either. So eventually, I think it's in 2015, I decided to just have it was actually 2013, I decided to just have a crack at it myself and see if I could figure it out. And so what I did was I hired out a place called 30 East Drive, which is like the most violent poltergeist in the UK, and just went straight in there and see what I could find or spot or anything like that. And that's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to write a book. It wasn't my intention to do anything big. It was just I wanted to see if I could spot anything that other people had missed using the same kind of, thought process.
Methodology.
Yeah. And that's what I did. And those 4 days were the longest 4 days of my life. I didn't sleep for 4 days. And it certainly put me on my backside for a while. But what I did was after I left the place, because I had it all filmed and so forth, I used to go through all the footage for about a good 3 hours, 2-3 hours a night. After work, I'd finish work about 5:30 in London, and I'll sit there in the building and all on my own in this office, and I would just look through the footage and see what I could spot, see if I could see anything. And for a long time, it confused me But then I finally cracked. I saw something in it. I cracked it, and once I saw that eureka moment, it all clicked into place. And after that, it was just quite easy to work out. It's like any illusion. Once you figure out the first sleight of hand, the rest of the illusion starts to unravel.
Right.
And that's how I did it. So I created a presentation just to work you through it. And this is what I'm about to show you is, I suppose you could call it like corporate level reverse engineering. If you were to give this a board of directors or IT specialists or engineers or anyone with a technical logical background, they would probably.
Can you reshare that?
Yep, I can show it now.
And we'll be able to bring that up. So what is this now? Are we going to walk through this?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna walk through this together, and so we'll just bring that up.
There we are.
It looks like you shared our screen.
Now it should be coming up now. You see it?
Just no.
Does it come up?
But it's just our screen.
Oh, okay. It must be the. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I think you got to share the other window.
Yeah. I put it on the first screen, but by the look of it, it doesn't like it. This one. All right. Is it here?
Okay.
I wish I could get rid of all this.
If you put it full screen, it should.
If I did a full screen, it goes to the other screen. That's what I mean.
Oh.
Yeah. So I tried to share it onto your screen, but it doesn't seem to work. It doesn't like it.
Well, I may be able to crop it.
What's presenter view do? No. What if, hang on, if I move that here and say from current slide, will that move it? No.
There's got to be a way. So when you hit present, it gives you an option like slides and PDFs.
So if I go from current slide, it will do it on, hang on. Maybe this would work. Okay, hang on a sec.
Yeah, because I think if you share it as like an actual like PDF slide, it might function better because it's integrated.
Hang on.
Can you just create another marker? B.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me just update the file. So I'm just uploading the file.
When you see something come there, present, put it up, and then make sure to change the angles here. If need be, while you do that, and then bring it to one screen when you're ready. But while he has it presented, there's no need because we're just going to be small on the side anyway, like this. So just gonna be a little bit more confident. It's a little trickier because there's more aspects to it.
Yeah, it's just processing the file uploaded. Hopefully it's going to be all right. Come on. Can open a window, it's hot in here.
There we go. So
okay, there we go. All right. Got it. Right.
All right, so Patrick, what are we looking at here?
All right, so this is my book, The Sphere Network. It's a very unique kind of book because it's a data-driven reverse engineering attempt at the paranormal or poltergeists, which in then turn discovered the Sphere Network behind it. And it's a lot to take in. If you give this book to any engineer or programmer or system architect or anyone in IT really who can think in a logical, structured way, they will most likely agree with this book.
Okay.
So the key is to understand logical process and mathematics, and that's what stands us out very different from other books.
Right. And I will say that in a lot of this, and a lot of these, the orb and the spheres, it seems like that whenever you do see them in any video, there's this oddly reminiscent, like it's familiar. This triangular, shape orbs seem to make. And it could be various sizes and measurements, but it's always this seemingly like triangulation triangle. And I've always found that to be interesting. And it seems like that's what we're about to dive into.
Yes, that's right.
All right. I'm excited.
So just give you a bit about my background. I'm an IT database developer, experienced in central London and Cambridge. I work mainly in agency and accountancy firms. My core responsibilities are spotting database issues before they happen, reverse engineering complex problems before and after they occur. Like one example is I was a private bank we were working with kept crashing. The systems kept crashing, bringing the operations to a halt. So I had a look at it, and I was flown over there to try and figure it out. And I noticed that it always failed just after 9 a.m. And what we figured out, or what we discovered, was that there was a staff member running a query that against the database at a certain time every day, and it was filling up the memory buffer. The same query had been run for 5 years, but they had like an upgrade, and the new version had a smaller buffer size. So when they run the query, it completely filled it up, and then it just crashed the whole server, bringing the whole thing to a stop. Yeah, it's so really what I do is the key is like advanced pattern recognition. It's not just technical troubleshooting, but logical mapping and analysis.
Right. So you have an eye for this, like, this ability and this eye for, looking at complex problems and breaking them down mathematically and, kind of reverse engineering them.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. So, okay, so here's the overview.
So the past few years, I've been presenting clear examples of UAP spheres in action. About a year before the UAP hearings in America, I shared a working model to Senator Gillibrand. This effectively, the spheres themselves became a major topic during the hearings. The spheres themselves are no minor detail, as they account for 52% of all recorded UAP sightings. I believe that the government is in a very difficult position, as they generally don't like what they can't control. So I think the key strategy is to let the civilians piece it together independently. What will happen is the smart observers will see the patterns, and while reactive individuals will dismiss them. And so that is the safest outcome. As Professor Nolan noted, that I can identify these spheres going back in photos, going back decades, which makes them a powerful tool for verifying both historic and modern images, as hoaxers didn't know about them. They couldn't fake what they didn't know existed.
Right. That's a good point.
So now I'm the author of The Sphere Network. It's reviewed to be in the top 5 UAP books in the world, marked almost 5 stars on Amazon, and the reviews are glowing. So, here we are. So, outstanding. The UAP phenomena has been solved. The nail has been firmly hit on the head. Groundbreaking research, new theoretical framework on UFOs, real data and research. A must read. Wow, new information. Then there's a lot more than that. That's a sample from a few months ago. So how I got there is like the journey was growing up. I spent a lot of time watching paranormal TV shows, documentaries, ghost hunters, and so forth. But none of it really gelled with me. The mainstream researchers, what they were saying just didn't add up. It was just too much woo and not enough logic for me. Mathematically, it makes zero sense. Like according to 2023 stats from England and Wales, 1,600 people die every day. However, paranormal activity does not increase or decrease year on year. It just generally stays the same in the same locations year after year. So eventually I kind of got tired of it, the vague explanations and the blurry ideas and the thinking. And I just thought, well, if I'm paid to reverse engineer these systems at work, why can I just use the same mindset on the paranormal and just to see what I can find? So
Right.
it was never really my intention to write a book or anything. It's just I had to kind of release my
Right.
my obsession from my mind. So I just got on with it and tried to see what I could find.
I like that.
So this here is Steady East Drive. It's voted the most haunted house in the UK. And if you can see my mouse pointer, this is the house here, this half of it, and this bit here. And all the poltergeist activity occurs on the top floor here and right here in this area here.
Okay.
So back in 2015, I spent about 4 nights in Steady East Drive, also known as the Black Monk House. I went in there not as a believer, but just like as an analysis, observing, measuring, recording, and within 15 minutes, this event here happened. So I'll send you this link. Oops.
What the fuck is
Yeah.
that?
So this here is the coal shed door banging. This actually is a common event.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait, so that
Common
was
event in the house. Yeah.
that I'm sorry, that's a rapid door like banging?
Yeah.
What in God's name is that?
So what this means is that this event itself stands out because it occurred the night before, and other teams have seen it since and before. So what does that mean? Like from a 90 point of view, it means that this event is a constant. It's a specific action for a specific reason. Might happen on a Monday and nothing will happen for a week, and then it'll happen again. And so these behavior patterns are not human behavior patterns. They are mechanical, computer-like, process-driven actions, and that's what I kind of realized.
Okay.
So this here is a staircase. And again, this is where a lot of the poltergeist effects occur. Now, on the third step of the stairs, which is down here, directly above in this area here, if you turn all the power off in the house, you'll still track a high level EMF levels.
EMF, right.
Electromagnetic frequency spikes. And they move around. And so you can actually track them with a meter, and they move around, and they're very, very high. Now, these emissions, also, every time you walk up these stairs, you get dizzy. So, and it's not just me, it's everyone who goes up these stairs at certain times will get dizzy. And so what you have there is you have a high energy source, which is producing an emission, which your device is picking up. And then when you're walking underneath it, you're actually being physically affected by the emissions, and you're feeling dizzy.
So because I have a lot of listeners as well. If you're listening to this on a podcast platform, I definitely like head over to the YouTube version. But it's a staircase in on 30 East Drive home, and it's just a pretty normal looking staircase. But so what you're saying is several people, not related, have all had physiological effects, dizziness as they walk up this staircase.
That's right, yeah. And it's not there all the time. It switches on and off. So sometimes you check say during 1 o'clock in the afternoon and it's not there, and then you go say 7 o'clock and it's there.
Huh.
So yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So this one here, this is what people are seeing in the building. This is why it's called the Black Monk, because it looks like a vertical black mass moving around. It moves in a digital way. So it moves as a observed moving digital vertical black mass that moves digitally without weight or resistance. Moves as a set rate, instant speed and stop. So it moves like this, like very, very quickly, left to right, and then through the door and so forth. Doesn't speed up, it doesn't slow down, it runs at a constant rate. And this is actually fairly common. People see these in basements and attics all the time. This is one of the most commonly seen paranormal things out there.
It's like just like this wall of shadow, like shadowy black. Yeah, that's really odd.
Move to the next one. This is the same black mass. It's different photographs, but it's the same black mass going past this doorway. So what I did was I filtered it and boosted it so I could see through it. And what you see here is a lot of noise. But then right here in the middle, just above the top half, you see what looks to be a small ball flying by where the arrow is. See it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Holy crap.
So this one here is another picture I got. So how it works is all these people go to 30 East Drive, and all the images they take go back to the owner of the building, who then forwards me the images, and I can then review them.
Right.
And this is one of the images that someone got. And here you can see a small silver ball hovering off the ground.
How far off the ground would you say that is? Given the perception of this photo.
I would say about a couple of inches.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but that's what
Yeah.
it seemed like. I just wanted to make sure I'm not getting tricked optically or anything.
So all of these patterns, like and loop behaviors, like the coal shed door keep banging, high EMF spikes, neurological effects, and geographical consistency, do not line up with the idea of ghosts or spirits. When I saw this was like my eureka moment, because once I realized what it was, everything else clicked into place. And I'm going to explain my thought process.
Kind of like that illusion you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
Once the illusion is broken, or at least the initial barrier, then everything else starts to kind of like
That's right. So here we are. Here's some more pictures of it. So here you can see it's moving towards the door, and it's leaving this trail behind it.
Okay, this is moving.
So yeah, so this is the same thing we've seen over Skinwalker. In fact, they caught it on camera, the infrared cameras, and again, it had the same trail leading behind it.
Ironic that you brought that up.
Yeah,
I have a question later on that I want to ask you that is related to that. So we'll definitely get there.
Yeah, cool. And so here you can see it going towards the door, and then it stops, and then it ducks to the to the right, and then it ducks back again to take a look and see what's going on. And here you can see it's flying a little bit higher off the floor now. And here it's just a couple of inches, and here it's about maybe a foot off the floor.
Wow.
This here is historical images, or at least depictions of them. This one is an example from 1903, and people used to see these objects flying through the wall. It's a glowing sphere flying through walls.
Yeah, I mean, even again, for what it's worth, I'm just using it as an example. Hate him or love him, Lou Elizondo, talked about this like green orb like flying through his home or something, and he allegedly ran this ATIP program for the United States. So, again, is there something there to that? But let's take a look.
So here is a modern. This is a combination of modern images and historical depictions. So here is the same small sphere, baseball-sized sphere, hovering off the ground, but this one's glowing. This one was taken in a field in the UK, again, just a few feet off the ground. This one here is historical depictions of it, flying through walls and glowing, just like this. And this is the one in 30 East Drive. So as you can see, this and this is the same thing.
Oh my God, yes it is. It's describing. In that first picture, the one at the top left, how are we not, are we sure that's not the moon?
Oh no. Yeah.
Have we done those kind of like, hey, could this have been the moon if we eliminated those kind of prosaic explanations?
Well, actually, there's the videos of these are fairly common. It's just people have to pick up on it. I've got multiple videos of these things hovering off the ground, low to the ground, glowing.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there's definitely historical precedence for it, clearly, and you're seeing it in this home.
Yeah.
And this is your first, experience into this stuff, bit like personally.
No, actually, where I used to live growing up, I used to see these things flying over the tree lights, the street lights, and also over the fields up in the sky and so forth, quite frequently. It's just I didn't really know what they were, and I didn't click. But when I saw them, and then I saw this thing in 30 East Drive, it all kind of made sense. Yeah.
Interesting. So you had been seeing these things your entire life, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then, do you think that in a way that it might have been, a lot of people in the community think like, certain sightings and certain experiences are meant for the experiencer, right? So to open them up, to bring them or set them down a path. Do you think that could have been what happened here?
I have no idea, but all I can say is I've spent a good chunk of my life figuring this out.
Okay.
So
The results are in.
So,
All right.
so here, so what you have, like, so if you look at the analysis of this, it begs the question, like, why are these small baseball-sized spheres in buildings? Why would they perform more physical actions? And why are people getting physically affected? So advanced drones, because that's what these things are just small advanced drones, need to send and receive signals. It needs a network and it needs AI. And AI is the key to repetitive actions. So we know the door downstairs has been seen and recorded to do the same banging multiple times for like the last 20 years. So that is a pattern that's consistent. And if you actually study Poltergeist cases, you'll notice they have all the same behavior patterns. They'll be banging doors, throwing objects, electrical effects, things catching on fire. So what it means is it's the same AI pulling from the same library of pre-coded actions. So the first thing you do when you see these small drones flying about, you think, okay, well, let's grab a transmission. Let's see if we can find the transmissions. So that's what I did. So I set the house up, and we managed to sample an 18-bit code that's using 2 bits for synchronization. So when these objects are transmitting, we can pick them up, and then we can record it and then put it through a machine, and then we can dissect what's actually been transmitted. And what you have here is an 18-bit code, and here you have the digital synchronization packet right here.
So what we're looking at is what you're saying is this sphere speaking, essentially.
It's relaying, yeah.
Like, so it's digital language from the sphere.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so this kind of explains poltergeist activity, because these are small type 3s act like transponders, which means that they will switch on and switch off. And when they switch on, they start relaying signals. And when those signals are being relayed, there are byproducts. So what it's using is microwaves and gamma rays. And with the gamma ray byproduct. So when these objects are transmitting, depending on the range that they have to transmit, will depend on the power output that it uses, which is why it performs these actions to move people away. So this is to do with the inverse square law of radiation, which I'll show you in a minute.
Okay. Wow, this is fascinating.
So if there is these drones like in these buildings, then they also need a network. So what I did was I sourced all the haunted locations in the UK, and then I filtered them. So you filter it by this method, as in you filter out buildings that only have poltergeists occurring now and again. You only target the ones that happened all the time. So it's like happening every day or every few days. And when you do that, you come up with this mapping. And what this looks like is so yeah, map below are the UK areas that are highly active. Observed in locations within the highlighted areas are similar point-to-point distances. The pattern indicates the low-to-ground network is operational and is technically similar to a network topology of a microwave-based point-to-point communication system. Microwaves, because microwaves only travel in straight lines. Also, it's secure. So unless you're a direct line of sight of this, you won't detect it.
Interesting.
So when we look back at that door banging, you say, okay, well, what was going on? And what is actually occurring is that example is a really good example of artificial intelligence at work. So what you have right here is the map of the building. Now, I was up here in bedroom 2, and then the coal shed door started banging, like as on the tape. So what happens is that everyone here goes rushing down to have a look at it, to see what's going on. So what's really occurring is we're getting the electronic emissions from here on the first floor, right in the attic area. So this thing here needs to transmit. So you're talking gamma radiation and microwaves, right? And what it's doing is moving you down to here, which is actually the safest, most shielded part of the building. So you look at it, you got 1 wall, 2 walls, and 3 walls between you. So, and each wall will absorb the radiation as it goes through it.
Very interesting.
So what it's doing is it's from observing behaviors in the house, I concluded these small spheres are using rule-based artificial intelligence, meaning they have pre-coded responses and outcomes for specific triggers and actions. So why bang the coal shed door? From a layout of the house, I found the coal shed door is in fact the most electronically shielded and distant part of the building, which is in alignment with the inverse square law of radiation, where the more distant you are from the source, the safer it is, thus explaining why the door is banging. This action is to attract people to the coal shed area, moving people away from the sphere's broadcast location.
So why does this, because For someone who doesn't know, why does this make sense?
Because we're picking up gamma radiation and microwaves. Number one. Number two, we're picking up a high energy source. Number three, we are seeing these silver spheres flying around and caught on tape and video. And four, it's banging certain areas of the building, which are electronically the most shielded part of the building.
Huh.
And when you connect all that together, it's obvious. It's broadcast.
Okay.
Also, people get nauseous. So if you stay up here while this thing's relaying, you will feel sick. You'll get nauseous.
So that's why they're getting nauseous, is when it's relay, when it's flicked on and it's turning, it's that signal that's communicating, is creating that byproduct, thus the physiological effect.
That's right. It's a radiation pulse. So when you see these on these TV shows of people fainting in these buildings, it's because they're getting hit by radiation.
Wow. Is it, well, because we know if it's gamma, if it's low level, is it not dangerous to them? And it's just,
Well, it appears dangerous because I think these type 3s, as I call them, the small baseball-sized spheres, the type 3s, I think that they're responsible for spontaneous human combustion.
Oh my God.
So if you can imagine, I'll show you in the architecture later of how I think it's working.
Microwaving it from the inside out?
Basically, if it has to do a very long distance transmission, you're talking about a high energy microwave, which then would mean if you happen to be in the way of it, you will just turn to ash.
Literally.
And it'll happen. Yeah, and it'll happen so fast that you won't even respond to it.
Because it would just be, like I said, it would be like you getting like put into a microwave for 2 seconds, and then it's just again, it's going to instantaneously pop you.
Instantaneous. Yeah.
Wow. This is.
That's why if you look at these pictures of people who've had it done, you'll notice that their hands are just sitting there like normal. It's not like they're fighting the fire or anything. It's because it happens so fast that the brain can't react.
There's no processing time. It just,
That's
it
right.
was. There was a time that it wasn't happening, and then immediately there was no buildup. It turned on.
That's right.
That's scary.
So here is a really good example. So this is a still shot from a YouTube video that I found. They were in a house having poltergeist activity, and they were having all these gadgets going off. And they looked up towards the attic, and they see this little ball hovering off the ground. So how it works out is that these spheres will operate in one or two locations of the building. It'll either be the attic or the basement.
You've circled, just to get a little clarification here, you've circled like even the black. So what is the actual ball? Is it that whiter part, or is it the whole thing? Okay.
Yeah. So the how it models out is the type 3s will operate in the most shielded part of the building generally. So if it's like in a modern building, like a brick building, you'll operate in the attic. While in wooden houses, like you have in the US, you have these wooden buildings that are like single floor, and they generally have a basement to them. And in those cases, they will operate in the basement. In fact, the wooden houses are actually the most poltergeist-ridden houses because of the way that the signals are coming in and out. They have to cause a lot of diversions to move people away.
Wow.
In fact, there was a documentary. There's a documentary called The Demon House.
I've heard of it. Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, and I think in that case they put an electrical engineer guy into the basement to see if he could measure anything, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'm picking up this high energy source moving around," but he didn't know what it was. And what I think it was like the next day, he went down with multiple organ failure.
Jeez.
And it's because of the emissions these things are giving off.
What?
But you see that the problem is that the mainstream will just blame demons and move on to the next one, and that's what they appeared to do. So,
so are you saying that they're looking at it through this lens that, again, whether it arises from a religious standpoint or, just the entertainment value of what ghosts and demons offer, versus looking at it through this much realer lens, much more practical lens And honestly, a more prosaic explanation being these, network of spheres. Do you think that, again, do you think they're just not looking for the right things, or are they actively just, not seeing it because they don't want to?
I think that they just see it through their own lens, don't ask questions. The truth is that the paranormal industry, say on like the networks, for instance, is like $1 billion a
That's what
year
I mean.
industry. Yes,
They
interest in
change
trying to
what's
figure
not
out.
broken.
Yeah, they have no interest of trying to figure anything out. They just want to keep the ghost train running.
Like, no offense to any of those shows or anything like that. It's just like it's the same thing
Yeah,
over and over again.
yeah.
And it's like quite boring, honestly, because there's no actual like advancement in research. And honestly, that's why, in my opinion, I've had people ask me, why am I into UFOs? Like, why do I waste my time with UFOs and all this nonsense? These people are the ones that are like ghost hunting. And I'm like, they're not having hearings in Congress about demons and ghosts. They're having them about UFOs. Not that I'm like, I think it's all, again, I think this is a great example of when the two mediums do meet. I think it's more the communities that sector it off. It's ghosts and demons, or it's UFOs. It can't be both.
That's right.
Right. And then
Right.
there's the cryptid people. And then there's the hybrid people, and there's it's just like they all have their own lenses, except
That's
like,
right.
what do we? I like that you've boiled it down, and you're getting to like rudimentary mathematics and like angles and like showing. So yeah, this is interesting.
So what I kind of figured out was that these divert people away from areas where high energy radioactive bursts are about to occur. These include emissions like gamma radiation and microwave bursts. These diversions aren't random, they follow rules and patterns. They take the form of noises, moving objects, or emotional influence. This behavior appears to be classic poltergeist activity. So in reality, these are likely safety protocols, moving people to lower risk zones within the structure. The spheres themselves appear to function as on-demand transponders, which will explain why poltergeist activity is often intermittent. Also, lots of locations as well. Also, this theory has been, or at least this, the signals have been independently validated as well. So Jim Segala, conducting field tests in the Utah Basin, confirmed gamma radiation and microwave.
You said the Uinta Basin? That's where Skinwalker Ranch is.
That's right.
Holy shit.
So the exact same patterns that I had modeled. So I'll show you. So here what you have is microwave at the top and gamma radiation bursts. So when he put these detectors in people's homes that were having funny experiences or funny poltergeist-like effects, and that's what they're picking up: gamma radiation and microwave bursts.
Can I ask you a question? Out of the questions that I wrote, I think this might be a good time to just bring it up now. Are you looking at, or have you, maybe not to jump ahead, I hope I'm not like getting to something that you have, but I haven't heard you talk about it yet. This 1.7 gigahertz signal that they're getting on Skinwalker Ranch, they're getting beyond Skinwalker Ranch, in many other places as well. Are you noticing that as well? Like,
Yes.
is that factoring in?
Yeah. So we're also picking up 1.6 and 1.72 gigahertz burst relaying.
If for anyone who doesn't know, these are typically bands that are associated with space to Earth transmissions, like from the military. They're bands that are usually reserved for Earth to space transmissions. So I don't know if that brings any relevancy, but that's what they're usually used. But we're seeing them at Skinwalker Ranch. We're seeing them in other places. Seems like we're seeing them here.
And it's interesting because we were watching these signals coming in and out. And as they were coming in and out, the sensors in the house were going off as well.
This is wild. This is actually data.
Yeah.
This is the evidence.
So here you say the physical effects of gamma radiation. So low dose gamma radiation can have various physical effects on the human mind and body. These effects include nausea and vomiting, fatigue and tiredness, headaches, dizziness and fainting, skin redness and irritation, decreased appetite, weakness and lethargy, and cognitive impairment, all of which are very common issues for people who live in or next to what we call haunted houses.
Again, these hot spots like Skinwalker Ranch, like Bradshaw Ranch. I only bring those up because again, there's a theme here, but there's also like hot spots like in Massachusetts where I live, like the Bridgewater Triangle. But there are places all around the world.
It's the same show all over the world, yeah.
Yeah, so it's very, very common. So can I ask, are we talking about an elaborate system of multiple different types of phenomena happening all at once? Because this isn't just one thing.
The spheres are the underpinning
The
underpinning
sphere.
architecture of it, but they do cause a lot of other effects as well.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
So when I was actually in the building itself, I got brain swelling, which also happened down at Skinwalker.
With Thomas.
Yeah.
This is uncanny.
Yeah. It's because when the door was banging, I didn't run downstairs, so I didn't take the warning. So I just stood there waiting for stuff to happen. And within 2 days, my brain was swelling in my skull. And my thought process had changed. Instead of being a very fluid thinker, I was actually quite brittle and confused and short-tempered. It actually feels a lot like sunburn on the inside. That's how I describe it, which is actually the same as radiation poisoning. It's the same thing. So the analysis is that the baseball-sized Type 3 spheres appear to create what we call a dynamic microwave-based data network that moves around to its needs. It uses buildings itself to help absorb the electronic signatures and mask gamma radiation bursts. They use AI and pre-coded actions to move people away when needed, and this has been misinterpreted as evil spirits and ghosts over our history. Depending on the type of building they operate in one of two main areas, either the basement or the attic, logically depending on the electromagnetic absorption rates. Because they use burst relaying, it means the network is near undetectable from the sky as it all blends in with background radiation. In other words, it's a very stealthy AI-based data network that can move around to its needs while keeping the general public at bay using scarecrow-like actions. And this is why the mainstream paranormal researchers have got nowhere in 80 years. This is also why, like you probably heard stories where, someone's house become very active and then just stopped.
Yeah, very much
so.
It
might be a brand new house. It might be
Yeah, and that's the thing is I've found that it's not the house now. I don't think it's the house itself. It could be in some. I don't think so, but I think it's actually the land.
No, it's not. It's the Type 3 spheres create a dynamic network that means that they can move around. It can move around the country to its needs. And then when it needs to lock into a place and relay signals, it will go into an empty building mostly or someone's house. And then it will relay signals and cause diversions to move people away. And this is what we call poltergeist activity. But also what's happening is that you'll notice that you'd have like 30 East Drive is always active every day, but the surrounding houses are also active, just not so much. And in the terms of networking, computer networking, that's what we call load balancing. So what it is you have a primary route and you have secondary routes. So if the primary route is too busy or it's blocked, you use secondary routes, and the secondary routes are the surrounding houses. So they also have spheres in them, but only switch on now and again to relay signals. And most of the time, people aren't even aware they're there. People will just report it as like, oh, I see this friendly little orb flying around and on my camera sometimes, but nothing happens.
Right.
That's what it is. It's effectively just reroutes around different route to the same location.
So what you're saying is, let's get like kind of granular on this op here, because you're describing a relay system where a high altitude Type 1 spots something, right? Maybe whatever, an intruder, and it pings a ground-based Type 3 that are already in buildings via microwave. Then the Type 2s form a V-shaped or triangular intercept team. Walk us through a real-world engagement that you've documented here, like those recent Lisbon or Austin clips. What does the data show in terms of like the speed, energy signature, and why no visible propulsion?
Oh gosh! All right. Well, firstly, what happens is, the Type 1s detect objects coming towards the planet, And then what they'll do is they'll signal down to type 3s, because the serial network itself is controlled from the ground up. It's a terrestrial based system, meaning that all the architecture to build this and operate this is underground or inside mountains. Then they obviously process the threat, and then they will then send signals back up to the type 3s. They then relay off the type 2s and then up to type 1b formations, and then they basically then swarm the objects in space. I can show you this in a minute.
Okay. Oh, wonderful.
So here we are. So this model here, this was the one that went to Senator Gillibrand a year before the UAP hearings. And then they were talking about spheres during the hearing itself. Here we have the type 3s in the buildings, low to the ground. This line here represents the ground. So in this case, it's just a few feet off the ground. And then what happens is it relays onto another one, which means to another building, and then, onwards and onwards across countries and stuff. And then what it does, it will relay up to type 2s. These are data relays. What they effectively do is take a low energy signal that's coming from the ground and then amplifying that like signal to a high energy signal. So that's why it does it a distance away from us, because it's relaying the data but at a much higher energy rate. So then what this will do then, that will then relay up to the type 1b formation here, which will then triangulate on objects coming into our atmosphere.
Okay. So it looks like, for anyone who's watching, it looks like a kind of like a kite formation, through like legitimate, like 3D kite formation. And this is, like I said, this is something that you see in a lot of videos, is this triangular formation that they seem to operate in.
That's right.
And it's uncanny, again, looking at it.
In fact, you can determine the direction of the target by where the type 2 is. So in this case, it's at 1 o'clock, because the type 2 is here, which is dead center of the V formation. So if you draw a line right through it, the target would be 1 o'clock. So the type 1s will form one of two main formations. There'll be a flat formation and a triangle up on its side, which is what you're looking at here. And it will rotate and pivot in the sky to its needs.
Okay. And again, what are some examples of why this network would be used?
I'll get to that in a minute. But we'll work through these examples. Yeah. So this one here you're looking at, this here is a type 2. These ones here, this was over Poland in 2023, approximately 30 to 50 centimeters in diameter. They always generally fly above the tree line, and they'll stay in the same general area for a period of time, and then they'll fly off. But they also do a thing called daisy chain, which means that there'll be one here, and then there'll be another. Yeah. And they will network over topology like mountains and other obstacles. They appear to use a microwave-based link for communication, and I can show you some examples.
Do you want me to show those videos?
Yeah, if you want.
So we'll do the first one.
So this is the type 2. Again, it's over the tree line. It stays in the same general location, moving very slowly. It's over a hilly environment. Again, because it's the line of sight system, it has to work around topology. So that's what this one's doing.
Oh, and this is, do you know where this is filmed?
God, I get so many every day. I lose track.
It kind of looks like these, wow.
So, and also it's a ground-based system, so that's why it's going back to the ground, probably to go back into where it was deployed from.
Right. Okay, let's
so look at the next one.
Okay, let me stop. Remove. Present. It's hard to. Wait, where is it?
That's the first one. There's 2 other videos.
I have the mouse. I think you sent the way that you sent the link.
Let me send you a clean one. Hold on.
Yeah, it like lumps them all together somehow.
Yeah. Grab that one.
There we go. Okay.
Dirigiéndose de la zona del volcán.
Sí.
I didn't know it was in a different language.
Yeah, just start again. Let's start again. So this one here is the Type 2. Again, is flying over the mountaintop. You can actually see the trail it's leaving behind in the sky. It's like a byproduct of the propulsion system, like a lensing effect. There, you can just about see it.
Wow.
You'll see it a bit more in a second.
That's amazing.
Here we are. So here's a nice close-up of it. And you can see the lensing effect at the back. You see?
Yeah.
And the same thing you got on the building as well. You see?
Wow, that little like blur that comes out.
Blur comes off the back of it, yeah.
It's
It's like a gravitational lensing effect on the atmosphere.
I was going to say, it's almost like it's refracting the light in a way that because the gravity field around the craft is being bent, it seems, or something.
Yeah. The field-based propulsion system will bend light around it, and that's why you're getting this
effects,
trail.
right? Because I've seen that in other videos. That's not the first time I've seen that.
No, it's a unique signature of these objects.
It's very, very interesting. So there's one more.
Yep, one more. This one here is where it's chasing an A-10. This is a Type 2 sort of trolling an A-10. They generally like trolling the Air Force for some reason.
I've never seen this. I've never seen this. What in the world? So that's an A-10 Warthog?
Yeah.
Who's filming this?
I'm assuming it's military. I must be a military.
Is that the Warthog?
Yeah.
Okay, and then
I think it's flown off now.
Okay, and that's the end of it.
So here's the next one I'm going to show you is really good. Let me send you this.
So
this one here is an example of the daisy chaining that the Types 2 do. You see the daisy chaining in the sky?
Oh my God,
like four in a row.
What?
So if you can imagine like our own microwave-based relay systems, but up in the sky, it's the same thing. It's just working over your environmental topology. See?
Why isn't it letting me pause it? That was awesome. That one had, again, So
if you pause it there.
Right there, you can see 3 of them in a row. This like daisy chain.
There's a 4th one in the distance, I think.
Wow.
So it creates like a line of sight communication network in the sky.
That is amazing.
And because it's using microwaves, it's direct. It means it's stealthy. So nothing above can detect it, and nothing below will detect it.
Right. So those are some amazing videos. Is there any other one?
So yeah, I've got some more. So here These are the type 1V formations. So these are the largest of the variants, and these are approximately 2 to 3 meters in diameter. They create a V formation up in the sky. The formation shifts between two distinct modes. You have a vertical formation where the V formation is up on its side like this, and then you have a horizontal where the V formation is flat, parallel to the ground. This movement is the entire V formation will move as a single unit up in the sky, and it will move and pivot together as one. Here is the other formation it produces. So in this case, this one here was over Italy in 2020, and you have the type 1V formation here in a horizontal formation. This is wrong, but this is actually a horizontal configuration. And then you have the type 2, which is here. So here you have the type 2, and then you have the type 1 spheres in horizontal configuration. And then you have a second group here, a type 2 right here, and the same type 1s in horizontal configuration.
Wow.
So the same processes keep repeating across. That's what I mean. There's a process that keeps repeating in time and time again.
It's
And
data.
as a result,
Evidence.
because these formations keep repeating, it means that there's a process at work, which means you can reverse engineer it. Yeah.
Okay. So that means that you have started that quest.
I've done it already. So this is all in the book. So this is how it operates. So you have the type 3s, which are in the buildings. That's the data network. They operate as a dynamic network that's low to the ground. So if you think about it, like, like how we use satellites in war.
Yes.
So the reason why we use satellites is because it's the highest point. So what we do is we send the drone in and then the satellite will guide the missile down to hit the ground. But because in this case, it operates in reverse because the threat is from space. So it has to use the lowest point, which is the ground. So you have the type 3s operating in the buildings and across the country. They don't just use buildings, but they will use anything that will shield the electronic emissions. So anything like holes in the ground or under bridges or in caves, remote areas, very like the desert. People see them a lot in the desert. And they will come online, they will start relaying, and then they shut down again. But these are the type 3 networks down here. They then link up to the type 2 relays, which are effectively taking a low energy signal here and then boosting it for a high energy transmission across maybe 100 miles or 50 miles across the sky. This one then links onto another type 2, which is local to the type 1V formation, which are much larger variants. And this is always in the same position. This will always be center of the triangle, but the triangle will pivot, but generally it'll always be in the same. So it'll move in the sky like this as one.
Right.
And then what it's doing is it's then pointing up to the target. Now, how do you work this out? Well, what's occurring is just pure mathematics. So what this is doing is a thing called trilateration. It's using, when you turn your mobile phone on and you look at the GPS?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is happening is your phone is looking at 3 satellites up in space, and it determines its position from those 3 satellites, right? This is working in reverse. So this is using 3 points to then look up in the sky and then track electronic signatures that are coming in from space.
No.
So then once it's doing that tracking like that, and you can home in on it, it's then using the 4th sphere at the back here as a distance calculation. So this is then doing a distance calculation to the target. And then when you combine all that data together, you get 3D tracking of objects in space. In other words, it's a very high resolution tracking and targeting system.
Wow.
And also the mathematics are up here. This is how it operates. This is how it operates here. And also by looking at the triangle, you can actually determine the distance of the object that is tracking. It says here, many trilateration systems use a baseline to range ratio of 1 to 10. If the distance between each of the spheres is 100 meters, the system would likely to be optimized to track objects up to about 1,000 meters or 1 kilometer. So by looking at the triangle in the sky, you can determine the actual distance that it's tracking.
Right. So the distance. So the distance from the network to the target and all that math is, you're saying, checks out.
Yes.
Wow.
If you put this screenshot through Grok Heavy, it'll come back and say correct.
Grok Heavy?
Yes.
What is that?
You know the AI, Grok Heavy?
Oh, Grok. Grok.
Yeah. it's used for like deep calculations.
Okay, that's why I love X's AI. It's like
Mm.
so many different, like it's that's why I like it more than like the Chat GPT ones, because like there you can use it in various functionality. Like it's not just like I don't know. I like that, but okay, that's awesome.
So also, as I said, from the formation of the type, the triangle here, you can determine where the target is. So when the target is upright on the side, when the triangle is upright, it means the target is side on, and when the triangle is flat, it's doing a vertical shift. It's doing a vertical scan up in the sky.
Oh, okay. Okay. So so targets could be 10 warthogs. They could be people. They could be other craft.
Incoming UAP traffic.
Exactly.
Mm.
Missiles.
Yeah.
Like you ever, so I'm sure you've heard of like the case where Bob Jacobs was filming, a dummy warhead, and this UFO thing, this ball of, metallic orb disc shape. He said disc, but disc can be the way you're looking at it, it could be a ball as well, just like tilted up. But that it like shoots a beam at the missile, moves up, shoots another beam, goes back to 3 o'clock, shoots another beam, and then the thing tumbles out of the sky. And then his commanders say, were you guys screwing around up there? No, sir, I think we have a UFO. You've been sworn to secrecy, right?
Yeah.
So
this has been here forever, and if you actually look at SpaceX footage as it's launching, you'll see the spheres flying around as well.
I've seen a couple videos of that, like of because I like to comb through that kind of stuff and see if I can see anything, because they're just streaming, like they're not looking for UFOs, but someone who like us, we're watching it, but we're also watching the backgrounds and what's flying in the back, right?
That's right.
So yeah, it's definitely, I think, a good territory. They have another launch coming up, or they just did, right?
I think it's coming up soon, and the big Starship one is coming up.
The big Starship one. I know one just did go out. That was just bringing some people to the ISS. So I wonder if there's anything from that footage. But this is a commonality. This is a common formation, and it's interesting to hear that you say it's an advanced, but it's also been here a long time. I mean, do you think this is possibly from a civilization like what Plato is talking about in Atlantis, or could this?
Well, all you can say is, technically speaking, the network is ground-based, meaning it's controlled from the ground up, which means that the infrastructure that controls this and deploys this and builds this is either underground or on the bottom of the ocean or under the ocean. Those kind of areas.
Do you think it is human controlled, or do you think it is controlled by something else?
It's controlled by a second species, and this is an AI-based network. The Sphere network models out to be a hypersonic defense network, which is AI-based. But there will be interaction with it along the path. So there's probably people controlling it at some points.
And that makes sense, that if there was an advanced species that was cohabitating and, has maybe let us think that we are the dominant species, and they just let us have the top, right? Okay, you guys are just, you can have whatever. We've transcended, this is where we live, in the oceans, or like you said, it could be underground as well. Like, I think the oceans is probably more likely, but maybe a mix of both as well.
I think it's a mix of both.
Yeah. So, these things coming out of the ocean that our pilots, our Navy has seen, even members like Tim Burchett have talked about that there's several bases, and Richard Dolan has a great book about USOs, dating back to the 1800s, even further back, I believe. So these lights in the sky. Point being, the lights in the sky have been seen for a very long time, probably longer than humans have existed. So if that is the question, if that's the truth, then it is from another civilization. And you're saying that civilization is maybe the Greys or whatever we're seeing.
Well, all you can say, it must predate humans, because because the V formations have been referenced in many religious imagery.
They are.
Yeah.
They very much are. We'd love to talk about that in a minute. But did you see that Obama video?
No.
You didn't see the Obama video?
No.
Can you pull that up? Can you pull up the Obama video? Oh my God, you haven't seen this yet, Pat? So while she does that, I'll explain it. But Obama was on this podcast, and it was Brian Tyler or Brian Cohen, Tyler Cohen. It's this thing. If you just open X, cancel that. One sec. I really don't like that it makes me do this. It's very annoying, the screen share aspect when we're both sharing a screen. It makes it so janky. All right.
Are aliens real? They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it? Area 51. There's no underground facility unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the president of the United States.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
Where are the aliens?
Are aliens real?
They're real.
Oh my God.
I haven't seen them, and
Can you add this to the stage, please?
Area 51. There's no underground.
All right, take his out.
Unless there's this enormous
It's ridiculous.
and they
Production
hid it
quality
from the president
today.
of the United States.
What was the first? Are aliens real?
Can you hear this?
Mhm.
You can hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's playing over my speakers, and I don't know why. So it's making me think we can't hear it. But all right, ready? So he's on the Brian Tyler
Are aliens
Comment podcast.
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51. There's no underground.
This is just a president,
facility,
former active
unless
president.
There's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the president of the United States.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
How is this not?
Where are the aliens?
Are aliens real?
Okay. But yeah, that's just casually a former president, very active president that, just was asked plain and simple, do aliens exist? And he just casually says yes, with very little follow-up. I don't know why that host, I would have so many follow-up questions. If a president of very sound mind like Obama was sitting in front of me, I would have so much that needed to be asked. But I don't know. Maybe that's not how it works with presidents and interviews. But anyway, you haven't seen that? That is what you could argue that all the UFO people, it wasn't like a president walking up to the podium and saying, my fellow Americans, we're not alone. But it was a former president who's still very, very active and very, very intelligent, saying aliens exist. And he's saying it affirmatively. He's also the president that said Area 51 first publicly when they needed to expand the land. So this guy is, why is this not a disclosure pinch point?
I don't know.
It's wild to me. I just don't understand. But you can continue. I'm sorry.
So in IT, what we do is replication to prove our point. So here what you're looking at is still from a video of the Type 1 V formation and the Type 2 coming online. This is actually taken off the UK coast a few months ago. And you can see the Type 1 V formation right here and the Type 2 at the back. And what this does is will come online and swoop upwards like this and start looking upwards.
So then it's something's above it, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And then here, this example here is from 1971 in Canada. And here you have the type 2 right here. And then you have the type 1V formation here. But this one here is in the horizontal configuration. So it's doing a vertical scan.
Just doing another vertical scan. So something. So do you think that one's protecting something in the mountain, maybe?
Well, they are seen commonly around mountains, so it's
Right.
highly likely that there's infrastructure built within them.
Built within the mountain, and
Yeah.
it's protecting that
Yeah.
infrastructure. That would make a lot of sense. If we, you know, a lot of sightings like that, like you said, a lot of mounting sightings.
So here's another example. This is over, I think this is over Florida. You have the type 2. This is just above a house. You have the type 2, and you have the type 1V formation here. And according to the maths, it means that the target is 1 o'clock. Here's another one. You've got the type 2 here, type 1V formation, and this here is the target that is tracking. Now, the thing is, this is all happening at hypersonic speeds, so it's all over the place. But when you actually get the picture of it, you can see the formation still remain. Here's one. This one here is actually off a ship. Again, you have the type 1V formation at the front, type 2 at the back. And in this formation, the target is 3 o'clock. This one here was taken over in Barcelona, Spain. You have the type 2, then it's daisy chaining onto another type 2, which is then pointing up to the type 1V formation. And you can see, you draw a line through it, and the target is at 1 o'clock.
Wow.
This one here is multiple examples from all over the world. So this is all different people, different times, you know, they're all seeing the same formations.
Different settings, yeah, different
Yeah.
locations geographically, but all seeing similar and
The same thing. It's the same process. Yeah. So you have the type 2 here, there's the V formation right here. You have the 2 type 2s, one here and one here. And you got the V formation right here. Type 2, the V formation here. Type 2, type 1 V formation. Type 2, type 1 V formation. Type 2, type 1 V formation. Type 2, another type 2, type 1 V formation, and so forth. And the same with this one and this one as well. So it's, I would say it's pretty obvious. The process is there. It keeps replicating. And
so this is all, this is all of what we're seeing right here is under the barrier of, this is in atmosphere, you know, below 80,000 feet.
In our sky. Yeah.
Right. In our skies directly. Okay. I saw what we're about to get to. That's why.
So this one here, this is yeah. So the question is there any evidence of these things taking out objects in space or in the sky? And the answer is yes. So I'll send you a link. Right, let me share my screen.
Because she can just add that.
Well, actually, I can.
You can just switch the tab that it's usually.
Yeah. I can actually share a video file, so I can upload the video file. Hold on.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool feature.
So if you open that, okay. So
I don't know if you can see that, but there's something orbiting that planet over there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's something orbiting that planet over there. See it?
So that's the spheres coming in. Look at it.
Not sure what's going on here.
What?
That's weird. A 10-inch light bridge made by Mead. I'm going to be filming that planet just right there. Okay.
Oh.
Now check this out. I've never seen this before.
Planet.
I'm actually surprised my phone's doing this, but check this out.
What
if you pause it there, you pause it there.
Something just.
Sorry. So if we back up a little bit, you can see the V formation. See it?
I'm gonna let it play.
Right there. See the V formations?
I do. I do see the V formation.
Hell.
There. So there is. That's the type 1 spheres in V formation, the horizontal configuration, where the target is either above or below. It's vertical.
What? What am I looking at here?
You're
This is
looking at
remarkable.
a UAP being intercepted up in the atmosphere.
So this, again, if you're listening on a podcast platform, you're missing half the picture here with this one, and I really highly suggest
Something just
watching. So that big, the thing that looks like it kind of is exploded, is a UAP.
That's correct.
It just kind of. Oh, okay. Oh, you're zooming in. This is amazing. Perfect timing. Oh my God, what is that? And I see the V formation, or the triangular formation, the relay. What in the world?
So the thing is that this is actually fairly common. Let me show you. Let me just upload this to your system. There you go. So what I do, I look up in the night sky. I have like a special night vision camera, and I can look up in the sky. And what you see is these flashes deep in space. And these are not planes. These are real deep in space. You can't even see them with the naked eye. And if you watch, you can see what's happening. You see these flashes. See it?
Bing, bing, bing. What is
And
that?
also you'll see movement up here as well. You see it?
Yeah.
They're
It's almost like
explosions.
what?
They're the explosions.
Those are explosions?
Yeah. And also here, what people have misidentified as natural star patterns are not quite right. If you look here, you can see the V formations. There's one here, there's one here, and there's one here, and there's one here. The sphere network, if you look up in the night sky and look for equilateral triangles of equal brightness, you'll notice them everywhere. So the sphere
Right.
network is literally above your head right now.
And that's exactly, again, it's what you're proposing here, is that this thing is everywhere.
It is everywhere. And these flashes are explosions of objects coming in.
So
You
they're,
see moving here as well. See that moving?
I do see the moving, and I see the flashes.
Yeah.
This is, did you see the multiple colors? Or maybe I am a little colorblind, so it could have been me mistaking it. But
they're explosions in space.
is that your telescope?
Yeah, and you can tell that they are, because they're not in the same spot, but it's actually a cluster of objects being destroyed all at once.
So, I think a lot of people would, when they hear about this, they may even think back to the Reagan administration and the idea of the Star Wars initiative, SDI. And, this seems like that on obviously way upgraded and way more advanced. But this is like something out of we would imagine a science fiction novel.
Yeah, I mean, what it really is that the night sky is full of engineering. It's just that it's so massive that people just don't recognize it, and they kind of just blindside it.
Right.
And this is what I think,
right.
The Vasco project?
Yes. Yes.
With the transients that are appearing and disappearing.
Yeah.
That is what I think it's the V formations doing that.
Oh, wow. If you guys work together on, you might actually get some data here, some real interesting, tangible stuff. And this is what ufology needs is, we've been looking at it through so many scattered lenses. This is something that seems to be, there's some data and evidence to back it up. This is something that we can start with. We can take and we can show it, and we can start, explaining, hey, this is what we think is happening here. And it kind of connects the dots, no pun intended, but it connects the dots with this idea of an ancient civilization, right? Every civilization has talked about some sort of advanced species being here on Earth with us, right? And then sometimes they even come and they protect us from cataclysms, or they reteach us after a cataclysm, and they always tell us they'll return. They'll return. And it's, what if they never left? What if the Hopi are talking, the ant people, right? That come from underground. Maybe that's just a metaphor. That's the only language they had to tell us that story is people came from, they're not actual ants, right? But maybe they had features that were different than ours. And they just, put that, again, I think language is very interesting in that sense, but cultures from all over the world talk about this, whether it's Quetzalcoatl, whether it's Osiris and Isis, whether it's Zeus, like these gods, these myths, these legends, they all talking about the same thing. This other species that's here with us, it doesn't always have our best interest at heart, but it's not malevolent. It may be indifferent.
I would say it's indifferent because from what I can tell, they are so far advanced of us that we are pretty much just maybe one up from primates.
But we also have thermonuclear weapons. I mean,
yeah.
So I think a bit maybe above that, but not too far above it, not as nearly where we should be given pure in technological advancement on our side. But
so what we're really seeing is the same sort of relationship that we have with primates. So now and again, humans will go into the woods or the forests and engage with primates.
Yeah, what do you think about like abductions and stuff? Do you think that's bullshit?
No, the only way that can be done is through the network, which means it's the ultra-terrestrials doing it.
Holy shit. So it is them.
Yeah. So this is how it generally models out. You have the type 3s that operating loads to the ground and in buildings, creating like a dynamic network, which is line of sight, which spans across the countries. When they need to, they will relay up to the type 2s, which are affected by the data relays. So take a low energy signal to boost it to a high energy signal that will then talk to the type 1B formation, which is then doing trilateration to target objects coming in from space. On targeting, they then destroy or intercept and destroy incoming space-based threats. So this is where it gets a bit crazy. So this is a picture of the type 2's daisy chaining up above the clouds.
Okay.
Now you notice the spacing, and you notice the general size and so forth, right? Yep. This is an inverted image of the night sky above my house, and what you see is the same patterns. So you have 4 what we think are stars, or say we are stars, but they're not stars. We have 4 objects of equal distance apart, of equal size, which then link to a V formation right here. And then you have another V formation here, here, and here, and here. So what we have, what we think are naturally occurring stars in the sky is actually a mesh of these formations around the Earth.
This is insanity. It's just right in your face.
It's in your face.
And it's hidden in plain sight.
Yeah. The primate example is pretty good, because in the same way as, say, the primates will see the US Air Force flying over the jungles in their helicopters and in their planes, they will look at it and then go back to eating their banana because they can't reference it. They don't know what it is. They don't reference it. They literally don't see it. Their mindset will filter out what they're looking at.
Right.
And it's the same for humans. We will look at things, and what we don't quite know or whatever, we will filter that information out as well.
Yeah.
And the brain is really good at filtering information out from it's trying to keep us happy. So it will filter out information.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the skeptics have such a rough time as well, because their brain is just configured in a way that filters a lot of information out. So they can't actually, even if you put the raw data in front of them, they cannot see it.
Right.
And equally, when you look at the night sky, what we think are stars is in fact reoccurring patterns that are artificial. So the sphere formation are so highly distinctive that in fact it can be used as what we call a unique identifier. As similar sphere patterns have been documented repeating both in modern daily videos and historical black and white photographs. So you ask yourself, like, what is the mathematical chance of 3 random stars or objects of the same size and brightness creating equilateral triangles in the sky, moving as one in sync across the night sky? And when you do the math on it, it's 1 times 10 to the minus 6%, which is less than 0.
Wow.
If the brightness match is 1 times 10 to the minus 5%. The synchronization match is 1 times 10 to the minus 26%. So in other words, there is absolutely no way that these triangles that you're seeing in the sky or in the night sky in space are naturally occurring.
Right. And, the astronauts have talked about how they were trailed to the moon, in the Apollo days. Other astronauts have talked, have talked about this as well, from other space, like the Russian side and the Chinese people, the Chinese side. I think they had a really dramatic encounter, and it just I wonder. So again, if this is connecting us, if this is some sort of advanced AI, like things like the Booga sphere, do you think that's like bullshit?
Yeah.
Like trying to muddy the water or like replicate what the people are actually seeing, so it makes it seem like it has some credence?
Yeah, the Booga series are fake.
Okay. It kind of felt like that to me. It just seems odd, but it seems like these. Do you think it might be deliberately done to muddy the waters on this?
I have no idea, but there does appear to be some money behind it, so I don't know.
Well, Jaime Maussan's involved, which means it's absolutely being, funded to a degree, right? Like there's entertainment to it, to the whole thing, which is very uncomfortable. So, what are there any cases that you can think of that, that you think this formation can add a layer of explanation, if you will? Is there a case that you look at and you go, oh, this is exactly what I'm talking about? This is very clearly the sphere network at work.
Yeah. So when it comes to UFOs crashing, what you're really seeing is, so you have like an advanced aerospace vehicle that suddenly flies all this way to Earth, and then it crashes. It doesn't make any sense, right? So the only way you can intercept a highly advanced object or craft is through equally advanced, if not more so advanced technology. So that is why all the crafts that have come down or have been retrieved have been disabled by the sphere network.
Right.
Also, there's also an extraction process as well. So in the book, there's actually a picture of the Tic Tac, which is about half the size of a commercial jet. And what that does, that will drop down to the ocean level, and it will extract out craft that have downed into the ocean, and then they'll extract them out. It uses the thing called quantum locking, which means it can lock on like a magnet, and then it will just pull it out and then fly off.
So do you think that is what that Fravor said that he had seen something under the water that was, causing this white cap turning, when the water becomes like the white cap. And he said it was a very calm day, that not a lot of waves. It was a very calm day. And this Tic Tac was dropping, like what Kevin Day says and all the radar guys say, is from, at least, the cap was about 80,000 feet, right? And that's the difference of space and our atmosphere. So these things are dropping from 80,000 feet down to sea level in less than a second, which is, automatically, it just blows my brain even thinking about it. But then there was, again, Fravor intercepted it, and he saw that there was this thing underwater. You think it was trying to retrieve it?
Yeah, because so how it works is like all the low-tech stuff gets taken out from a long way away. So all the low-tech crafts that are coming in will be intercepted early, while the high-tech ones, the ones that can navigate through the surveillance network, like stealth aircraft, they will be retrieved for reverse engineering and analysis. Because once you figure out how they breach the network, they have to then adapt the network and tighten it up. So what you're observing is a typical, a technology race, just like our own weapon systems, our own armed industry.
Yeah, where does that leave us right now? I mean, because are we getting? Do you think that the U.S. military has reverse engineered UFO material?
I have no idea. It might be so far ahead that they can't. They simply can't. In a way that they might be able to take some basic inspiration from it. I mean, there's more than one ways to skin a cat. So they might be able to take they might be able to take certain principles of how it works and then kind of replicate it on another scale, basically on a different scale. But it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But all I can say is that the ones that we see, the craft that are kind of getting through the network and we're actually seeing in the sky, they're the more advanced ones. So they are generally disabled and retrieved, and then they are
right. That's what I figure.
Yeah, and this is why. I mean, there was a case recently of something landing in the back of a yard in Las Vegas, in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they said they saw these two big guys standing there, but then they all disappeared. So what happened? Well, it's because it's extracted out, and you cannot fly an object that's crashed. This doesn't work. So it means a Tic Tac would have come in and pulled it up and extracted it out super fast. And that's why we haven't got these objects laying all over the country. What we are finding though is because these objects have been taken out and up in high orbit or up in space, all the debris, molten metal, is going into our oceans. So you'll find that there are scientists out there on ships who are extracting this for research and profit.
Well, the network's been active for forever, right? So Vatican artifacts and pyramid engineering, ancient texts. What's the oldest evidence that you've linked back to that it suggests it's crypto-terrestrial, ultra-terrestrial, or, like I said, an AI left by, a long gone civilization?
So the type 3s are responsible for poltergeist activity. It's all the same behavior patterns today as it was 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago. So what you have to do is look up the very first recorded instance of poltergeist activity, and it actually goes back to the 2nd century.
The 2nd century?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. And you've linked it back that far?
Yeah. And
with how? Is there a certain story or?
There's stories that go. There's stories that go back to the 2nd century, which have been translated over the years, that talk about poltergeist activity occurring. So if the network was, if the type 3s were there, they would have been doing this type of activity. But it also kind of models out that humans actually play a role in this defense network itself. You see, if you look at it logically, what you have the sphere network, which is up in space, and then you have one what's in our atmosphere. So what you have first, second, and third layer of defense. And so what does that make humans? Well, it makes humans the third layer of defense. We are the private army that's on the surface of the planet. So if anything crashes on the Earth, we deal with it. We mop it up.
Right.
I think we're like the third line of defense.
So we're just an integrated happenstance third line of defense.
Well, originally I think it was the job of the dinosaurs, because if you want a real hard line of defense, third line of defense, you use animals. Because if you crash landed on dinosaur, Earth back then, you wouldn't last 24 hours because of the animals at the time.
That is very interesting.
But it's highly likely, due to their animalistic nature, they were probably hunting down the ultra-terrestrials as well, and they got out of control.
Well, I was going to say, do you think that they caused that reset?
Yeah, I think that they got rid of the dinosaurs, and we had a replacement. So it's like the dinosaurs probably got out of control because of our animalistic nature, while humans are more rational, so we can be scared. So they use scarecrow actions to move us away from these emissions. But at the same time, if something crash lands on the Earth, we are the ones who will group up and in groups and attack. And that's what we do. That's what we do. I think that's why it's like, if you look at like what humans are supposed to be, it's like we are a hybrid between something else and a primate. So why would you mix the DNA with a primate? It's because you want it to be big and strong
Exactly.
and aggressive.
Why would you need it to be big, strong, and aggressive?
That's right. So what they've effectively created is an intelligent machine.
Working killing machine.
That's right.
Multi-use.
Yeah, and if you think about it, it's like, well, what's the primary skill set of humanity?
Create and kill. Yeah. Yeah. To give and take, right? There's the give and take.
So it doesn't matter if you look at the whole planet as a skill set. Doesn't matter if your IQ level. They all have one thing in common. They're all very good at killing, and that's what appears to be our main skill set. And when you look at things in black and white, it kind of does make sense. We're effectively the private army of ultra terrestrial intelligence that lives underground.
And do you think that story of, like, say, the Anunnaki, right? Do you think that is maybe this ultra terrestrial species telling us fables to kind of like give us inspiration, and but that's kind of where the story, every good story or disinformation has a piece of truth. So right, they did create us, but they're not from somewhere else. Like they're not gods who descend. They live here as well, right?
Yeah. We are probably created to perform certain roles and tasks.
But there's definitely, like, at least in my opinion, I feel like there's this thing inside of us, just as much as that there is to kill. It's like our want to have faith in something like higher than ourselves, right? And I don't know if this comes with evolution over time or if it's something that's always there, but we have this want to believe, in something. I feel like why would they turn that on specifically, right? Because it seems like a defect, if you will. If you wanted just a pure worker, like killing, like why turn that on?
Well, right? I mean, if you break it down to real basics, like dogs, take a Rottweiler, trained, an aggressive dog, but it can also love children.
Absolutely.
So it can, as I said, it appears that we are created for a role. And what is going to happen really is, what's happening is the reason why there's no direct engagement is the same reason why we don't directly engage with primates. So if the average primate could not process or operate within the human domain, okay, so it's not as if you can give them a job or anything.
They still find ways to do that, Patrick. Movies.
Yeah, in the zoo and movies, but not really, properly. So the only way forward really is to increase the IQ level of human beings, and you do that through AI. So the right now what we're seeing is AI is going to start taking everyone's jobs. Slowly but surely it's going to start doing it, and robots will take over the labor jobs while the AI will take over a lot of the other jobs.
Yeah, the basic, like, customer service based, like, interacting jobs.
Yeah. You ask yourself, like, okay, well, what's the future? Because you cannot compete with that.
Universal basic income.
Yeah, you cannot compete. Already, I think Grok Heavy can outperform scholars. And on subjects it hasn't even studied.
Yeah, or lawyers in the bar. It passes it.
You cannot to think that we can compete with AI is just foolish.
Yeah.
The only way that we're going to move forward in the next 50 years onwards is to fuse with AI. So we will have we'll have a implant in our skull, effectively Neuralink or a system like it, which will allow a high bandwidth connection to AI, and that will bring everyone up to an IQ level of 200, 250, and at that point, we will become interesting. At that point, we will probably be on the same level playing field as these ultra terrestrials, and at that point, the door will open. You see, it doesn't matter if the primates in the jungle started banging on the door of humanity, saying, "Let us in. We see you all the time. We want to know what you do and stuff." It's not going to open,
right?
Because no one's interested. Not
until they, sit around a fire until, drawing on cave walls. are we
Yeah.
going to take notice?
So but if there was a primate out there that suddenly had an IQ of say 100 or 90, everyone would want to know.
Yeah, we would absolutely.
Because you're now on the same playing field. You're operating at the same level. So the same thing will happen with the ultra terrestrials. If their IQ level is say 200, 250,
but then again,
the door it will not open until we reach those standards.
But then again, what happens? What happens then when there's no more third line of defense?
No, we'll probably still have our same role. It's just we'll be much better at it.
Okay.
By then, the future of humans is actually quite interesting. So, with a AI connection to increase IQ levels, you then have nanotechnology such as nanobots. So then you just drink every morning. You drink like a health drink, but it's full of nanobots, and it'll literally build your body. It'll build you a body like athletes, like an MMA fighter, and you won't even have to go to gym. You'll just build it all for you. So you'll have a body of a king, and you'll have an IQ level of a machine. So if you think about it, that's the perfect third line of defense. Because your networks, your high IQ, you are a very smart, but equally a very dangerous individual.
Gosh. And, I think one of the things that really, really opened or at least struck me was the paranormal stuff, that revelation. So the paranormal tie-in is explosive, I think. Like I said, hauntings as network maintenance mode. If that is something that is genuine, I mean, this reframes pretty much, everything that we thought about places like Skinwalker or Heselden lights, even psychic, phenomena. How does this shift the conversation from aliens to the Earth operating systems, EOS, and what happens when the public wakes up to orbs in their backyard?
Well, the thing is that as I said in the beginning, that and Gary Nolan said as well, like disclosure is an IQ issue or an IQ test. People who get it will see the patterns and see the relationships and just accept it, and other people who won't, the more reactive people, will just reject it. And that's really the safest way forward. People generally react badly when governments tell them things. So like COVID was a good example. When they talk about COVID and lockdowns, you couldn't buy hot dogs or anything in the shops. All the toilet rolls are all gone as well, because people just do crazy stuff. So really, the truth is that only really the West, like the United States and maybe a bit of England or UK, really want disclosure. It's only the Western countries. It's not, the Arab countries don't want it. They don't care.
Yeah.
The African countries aren't interested, and that's a huge chunk of the planet. And the Indian, the Asian countries aren't that interested either. It's only really the Western countries. So yeah, it's a case of once you see the patterns and the relationships, you will say, okay, yeah, makes sense. Move on, and that's it. Carry on with your life. That's it.
If the Sphere network is Earth's guardian AI, what does that say about us as a species? Do you think that we are ready for this level of disclosure, or do you think that the sky may be about to force our hand as we technologically, again, peak?
So it's a tough question because the network, it appears to be a lot more busy these days than it was 10 years ago, which means that we've probably attracted the attention of someone or something, and it's now coming to the planet. If I sit outside during the night and on a clear night, you see a lot of these flashes quite frequently in the night sky. So it appears that these interceptions are occurring quite frequently. And in fact, if you monitor the activity in the houses when they start broadcasting the signals around, it generally activates every other day, or at least every 3 days, which means that there is something coming into our atmosphere every other day, every 3 days.
At a minimum.
At minimum, yeah. So there could be a case of where because our our own electronic emissions are going into space further and further, the more people will become more and more detectable over time, and then more traffic will come this way.
Interesting.
So if you look at the reason, like why would like an ultra terrestrial group, why would they want to live underground? Well, it's because you can control all the emissions. You become invisible. You know,
Absolutely.
you're not sending out microwaves or radiation or light waves or anything. You're very much hidden using natural infrastructure, while we're on the surface of the earth building big shiny buildings. You see, so it's just a matter of time. I think it's just a matter of time until an event will occur that will force its hand. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Where something will happen. So like maybe, let's say 50 ships or 100 ships or 1,000 ships all hit the defense network at once. And let's say 3 got through. And let's say each one of those ships were massive. Let's say the size of Eiffel Tower or you know, of the Eiffel or something like that, or Twin Tower, not Twin Towers, but you know,
that's a huge
that big one, yeah. And let's say something happens, maybe a big chunk of the population will go missing overnight. Like that, you know, there's an issue with genetics that no one really talks about, and it's called synergy. So what that means is that, you know, when you have small populations in remote areas having children, and then children on children, and what happens? They all become low IQ and handicapped.
Yeah,
it's because the DNA pool is too small.
It's too small. Yeah, you're inevitably you're going to be. It's almost like incestual at some point.
That's right.
You can't avoid it.
But the problem is that one day the whole planet will have the same problem. It's just mathematics and time, because the DNA pool is only so big.
I didn't even look at something like that.
Yeah, but that's the truth. And the thing is, I mean, I'm not talking about 10 years. I'm talking maybe a few million years.
Right. Naturally.
I mean, already there are cultures.
But we're seeing it. Yeah.
Seeing this already. Like there are cultures around the planet, around the earth, they have to have DNA tests before they have children, because to check if it's going to be more handicapped than not. It's what the risks are.
And I think we're probably headed towards a future that involves being able to gene edit and selectively edit the gene pool. At least for our side, I think that, like, you know, CRISPR and these technologies that are very frowned upon today, once AI is, like, I don't know, even rooted its way further into our, you know, day to day and society, I think that there's just no telling. Like what you said, drinking nanobots, right?
Yeah.
Like it's going to be a very different place in a few years.
Yeah, if there was an event, let's say three crafts got through and a huge bulk of the population was missing overnight, that's a good chance, because, as I said, there's an issue in DNA with synergy. So what you might have is another group that is suffering from these issues, and the only way that you can expand the life of your own species, of your own group, is by inserting these new DNA, these new genetics into your group. So the only way you can do that is by going to somewhere else and extracting it. So DNA might be the primary reason why other groups want to come here, because if you want natural resources such as, you know, certain metals like titanium or gold or silver, and you hear, you know, like these stories of like they came here to mine the gold and all that stuff.
The Anunnaki one, yeah.
But that's crap, because the fact is that there's meteorites out there with more gold than this entire planet.
Yeah.
So there's and that's easy because there's no one there. You know, you can just go and stick a drill in it and get as much as you want.
We're talking about this now.
Yeah. So there's no reason to come to Earth for material resource. It's just genetic resource. But that's the only reason.
You think it's a biological reason? That's very interesting. Very interesting. You know, for the skeptics out there that say, because I have a couple more questions and then we'll wrap. For critics that say that these are just stars or balloons or Starlink, I feel I got to address it. You've got retired U.S. Air Force pilots and academics nodding along, and even Ross Coulthard's warming up to the idea. How do you dismantle the mundane explanations, especially when your predictions like spheres escorting jellyfish UAP keep hitting?
Well, regarding the stars in the sky, for example, all there is we have a data set. That's all it is. We have a data set that we have labeled, and we have then written books about it and said, oh, that's this name, and that's this name, and so forth. Doesn't mean that it's correct. So that's what I mean, is when these skeptics, all they do is they look at a book that someone's written and said, oh, that is this form, this is this constellation, or that, or so forth. But
Right.
that's just a data set. It's just a labeled data set, but it may be completely incorrect. All I can say is mathematically, you cannot get these formations naturally, and that's provable by math. So they have math to deal with. Go debunk math.
Yeah, usually
You know?
math is pretty universally sound.
And that's the same with the formations. The spheres are replicating, keep reproducing. They're doing trilateration, which is say high resolution 3D tracking in space, and you can do it by the math. And if you get my diagram and put it through Grok Heavy, can pretty much outbrain every professor out there, he will agree with you. So I'm happy to give that diagram to anyone, any scientific, anyone, any professor, and say, there you go, deal with it. Debunk it. He won't. That's it.
This is it. This has really been interesting, and it's opened my eyes in a way. One last thing. Do you think that there's something to the idea of people are talking about these prediction dates, right? 2026, 2027. Do you think that anything like that is actually possible? Do you think humans know enough to even disclose, like, because if what you're talking about is true, it's like, how much does our government really know?
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Right.
But I mean, especially in Europe, the behavior of what's going on in Europe is very, very strange. It doesn't make any logical sense.
Right. Yeah. It baffles me, because this is quite different, but it's different in a good way. What's next for you, and where can people find you? How can people stay up to date with, what you're doing, and where you're doing it?
I'm predominantly on X. I use that all the time. I'm more concentrating on the data than anything. I'm speaking to scientists behind the scenes. And there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than I make public. But I'll give you a clue. So one question someone gave me recently was, so the type 3s are in the building, right? Determine the difference between them and dust flying around, just random dust on infrared. Because if you look at infrared cameras in a dusty room, you'll see these what look to be big orbs flying around, but it's actually just a reflection of dust. And the answer to that is because we've figured out a way to electronically track these objects in buildings passively, which completely filters dust completely. We already have the data on the methods on how to track these objects in real time around buildings.
So is there what experiment can anyone do right now tonight to try to see similar things, or garner their own little picture of it?
Yeah. So I made a dog whistle. I coded my own dog whistle, which I use quite frequently. And you can get it on Google Play, and it's called the Q code. And what you do is you put your phone into flight mode, and you get some sensors, for example, like EMF sensors, or you even get like these like cat ball things that glow when they vibrate.
Yeah.
Just put them on the floor in your living room, turn the phone on, sit there and wait, and they'll start to flash.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. This has been a treat, man. I really want to hear more about, now I want to get like case specific and start looking at it and being like, hey, this line up? Because, I've seen this formation in so many videos. It's just unbelievable. So thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, no worries. Been fun.
To everyone out there, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We want to thank Patrick. And again, he's definitely going to get an invite into the studio. But thank you for everyone who's a member of the show, listeners, and just in general. We don't, or we wouldn't want to do it without you. So stay humble, stay kind, and stay vigilant.